Hi, this is Kyle Higgins, and you're listening to the Geekcast Radio Network.
Here, kid. I think you lost this.
I could have handled him.
Coulda, woulda, didn't.
You sound just like Batman.
I'm nothing like him.
Yeah, right. The mask, the attitude, the long underwear.
Drop it!
I'd love to know what happened between you two.
Things change.
No kidding. You guys used to be the greatest. Batman and Robin, the dynamic duo.
Maybe you should ask him.
I did. And you'll never guess what he said. Things change.
It was building for a long time. I realize that now. It was never really right. I mean, this isn't exactly a normal childhood.
Hello and welcome to the Geekcast Radio Network interview of Kyle Higgins. I am your host, of course, Mike Blanchard, and I cannot believe I'm talking to the current writer of Nightwing, the best-selling Gates of Gotham, Deathstroke, and director/co-writer, producer of the film The League. We welcome Kyle Higgins. Hi, Kyle. How are you?
Hey, man. How's it going?
Oh, it's going really good. Oh, man. Like I was saying off air that I started reading Nightwing backwards. I started with the Death of the Family stuff because when I started getting back into comics, Batman 13 was my start, was that whole storyline, and now I have to go back and catch up.
So you had no idea that Joker had removed his face?
Well, I had heard of it and all that, but like up until Death of the Family, like I respect comics, but I'd read comics as a kid, but I wasn't that involved. I wasn't like everybody else going to the comic shop every week getting stuff. I am now. I mean, between Nightwing, Batgirl, Batman and Robin, or Red Robin, or Batman versus Batgirl, whatever they're calling that title this month. That, the new Masters of the Universe that's coming out from DC, some IDW stuff. I am like full tilt in now.
Good. Well, we're glad to have you.
Yes. I just want to preface this by saying that I had first heard you on Kevin Smith's Fatman on Batman, the two-part episode that was like 2 hours long if it was going to be one episode. And if people want to get Kyle's background and how he got into stuff, you guys can go over to smodco.com and listen to that interview. Basically, this one's going to be like, what is Kyle do? What have you been doing since then?
Okay.
So basically, in that interview, kind of talking about Dick Grayson, your favorite character, being more than Robin. You had mentioned in that other interview that you believe Dick Grayson could exist without ever being trapped in the Robin persona. Would you like to expand on that?
Well, I mean, that's something that I think any of us who write write a character who was a former sidekick kind of aspire for the character to be. I think I mean you could make that argument with any of the former Robins. You could say that about when Ed brought Bucky Barnes back in Captain America. You could say that about Bucky. It's just kind of a natural state that you kind of want to see the character evolve out of, and I think that's why a character like Dick Grayson is so popular, because I think that resonates with fans. I think fans read the character and they want to see him grow and evolve as well, much in the way that as a fan you grow and evolve in your own life. So I think it really speaks to I think the legacy characters really speak to something kind of something inside us that really taps into feelings of growing up and trying to carve your own path in life. So that's kind of it in the general sense. As far as Dick is concerned, more specifically with the Robin identity. I mean, we're doing some things going forward here in in moving the character to Chicago, and he's heading there to search and hunt down the man that killed his parents. And it's all designed to build a world and a mythology that is inherent to Dick Grayson. Not to say that there wasn't a world of mythology that was inherent to him before, but I'm really trying to strengthen that now in a way that, you know, his time as Robin was just one component or one aspect of his life, rather than the thing that you point to when someone asks you, hey, who is this Nightwing guy I've heard about? 9 times out of 10 you would say, oh, well, or 9 people out of 10 that know him would say, well, he was Robin, and then he became his own guy. And, you know, I'm just trying to build kind of a world that when you go to describe Dick Grayson, the fact that he was Robin is maybe that's still what you open with, but I got to try to change it.
Well, to me, he's more relatable to like an everyday person. Like, Batman is the legend. No one is ever going to be able to live up to Bruce Wayne Batman. And then Nightwing is DC's at least in my eyes, Nightwing is DC's version of Spider-Man, obviously without the spider powers, but it's that everyman kind of character that somewhere in one of these stories that you're writing, someone can find something relatable to them that he has gone through.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
You've said on Twitter, people have asked you when will there be a Nightwing film, and your answer is whenever he appears in a Batman film first. Honestly, I would rather see Nightwing direct-to-DVD animated features or Nightwing cartoon series. I know with the current state of cartoons, the cartoon series thing might never happen. But where would you want to see Nightwing outside of comics?
Well, I mean, I've given that answer before for the same reason and rationale that I just described.
Yeah.
You know, trying to get him away from his moniker as Robin, because and really that's kind of where the challenge comes from for me. I mean, I have thought about that a lot, and I really don't have an answer. I don't see a way you could do, you know, Nightwing in a film unless it was a spin-off of a Batman film in which he already appeared, because the things that are most interesting about the character stem from the fact that he grew up as Robin. At least that's the perception that I have had. You know, I mean, people might disagree with me on that, but that's, as far as a modern audience is concerned, like that's the only way you could make that work, in my opinion, anyway. So, I mean, that's kind of where some of this is coming from too, like with the move of you know, everything I just described. It's that kind of conversation of like, well, could you develop this character in a way that if you made a film or a cartoon series or a TV show, it could stand on its own without needing the Batman connection. And I don't know if that's possible, but I mean, I think that the direct-to-DVD market obviously lends itself to something like that. You know, the DC animated films, just because they are kind of one-off and standalone stories, and they're catering to an established audience who, you know, they're going to be more likely to know who someone like Nightwing is. So that would be cool. But really, I'll take anything. I mean, it's always a lot of fun to see him pop up in the video games. You know, Injustice is coming out. I think it's this month. And he seems to be pretty featured in that. But yeah.
There are action figure 2-packs that are coming out to go along with Injustice. When I saw the advertisement for it, I was like, wait a second, you can't have Superman go against Nightwing. That's an unfair fight.
Well, I mean, I think, yes. But I also
you have to admit that's an unfair fight. There's no way as entertaining and as interesting it would be, Clark Kent.
Well, but I think I have a feeling there's probably story reasons, you know,
right.
bring them all down to the same level. But yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, it's part of the fun though, is seeing characters matched up against each other who have completely different power sets and they're in different levels or weight classes, or, if you will. I have this conversation with Brett Booth all the time, where his favorite stories are always the ones where the hero is going up against someone that is so out of his weight class, because it really, going up against someone that, like, the hero has no hope of winning against, and then either finding a way to overcome that, or maybe not winning, but the fact that he's going into the fight is what makes him a hero. Right. So I mean, it's a little different in this case because obviously someone like Superman is a hero, but I think some of the fun for fans comes from seeing some of these guys that you normally wouldn't see fight each other because they're in completely different weight classes kind of square off. So.
Now, you mentioned earlier about the fact that in the book, Nightwing has gone to Chicago hunting Tony Zuko. Anything else you can tease from the upcoming stories without spoiling anything?
Not really. I mean, I really like people finding the stories on their own, in the book. The first issue 19, comes out tomorrow, which is Wednesday, April, what is 17th. That, 17th? 17th, yeah. 17th. So you don't have to wait too long. I think, I've said this before, but, the position that Tony Zuko has within Chicago, not the position, but like what he's been doing for the last couple of years, I think is pretty interesting. And there's going to be a mythology in the city that we're building that's going to be a lot of fun. I mean, it really kind of deals with the idea of masked vigilantes in Chicago and what happened to them and why there aren't any there anymore. And Nightwing's kind of the first to return. So again, it's all part of that trying to build a unique world.
Yeah, very, very awesome, very awesome. It was announced at WonderCon, and my jaw hit the floor when I saw this. You are taking over Batman Beyond Unlimited.
Yes.
Oh, man. Now, you did an interview with Comic Vine where you kind of talked about your approach. For those people that haven't seen that, will you talk about how you're going to approach the characters of Neo Gotham?
Sure. Well, for me, some of my favorite qualities about the show involve the fact that you really didn't know what happened between these characters. When the pilot launched, and you see the dynamic between, you see where Bruce is now, and the fact that he's alone, and he no longer has relationships with Barbara and Tim and Dick, and you don't know what happened to Alfred or any of the villains. I mean, that aspect was really engaging for me, and the show didn't deal with too many, as I like to call, out of the past episodes where they're bringing elements of the past back into the series. It really forged its own identity. But that mystery really created a nice atmosphere for the series, and really, I don't know, for me, it kept me hooked. So I'm kind of looking to do something a little similar with our first issue, where we launch and a little bit of time has gone by. And the status quo as we know it from Adam's previous issue or Adam's final issue will be changed. So Terry is no longer in high school. He's in college now. He and Dana are no longer together. Something happened, and it's changed things. It's changed some of the relationship dynamics amongst the characters. So the question of what that was, and the question of what that was and what happened is something that's going to be the kind of the undercurrent for the show, or not the show, for the book. It'll be kind of like the running mystery in the series. So yeah, it's the first arc kicks off with a big murder, and hopefully people will jump on and give it a try.
Yeah. I know you're not going to reveal this because it could be a spoiler, but last month Batman Beyond 14 came out, and it was revealed that on Adam's run that Dana finds out that Terry is Batman. So are you going to tie into that at all, or is that like completely separate from what you guys are going to end up doing?
No, that's an aspect of it. I mean, the book is continuing from what Adam's doing. So no, Dana knows he's Batman. But yeah, I mean, it's. I don't want to give too much. I don't want to talk more about about it. Just I don't want to give anything else away. But
there have been kind of switching gears here. There has been a lot of people on the divided line of whether the New 52 is good or bad, or a bad thing. What is your stance on New 52?
On what? On whether it's a good or bad thing?
Yeah.
Well, it's provided me a tremendous opportunity to really break into writing mainstream books. I was tremendously lucky and fortunate that I was, asked to write Deathstroke, and that led to Nightwing. And I couldn't ask for a better character, a better title. I mean, so I don't know. I mean, it's all good in my opinion.
Right. I think it's great. Oh, good.
Well, I was going to say, I mean, if you look at DC's history, it's always kind of been defined by relaunches in different eras, with the different Crisis on Earth series. So I mean, I think it's great. I mean, I think the idea of kind of reinventing yourself is something that keeps you modern and keeps you fresh. So.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's good for getting new readers in, because one of the reasons why I never got into comics before, because you go into a comic shop and Batman number 689 is out now, and it's like, okay, so I have to read the last 688 issues to catch up with the story,
right.
So it's like, I'm all for the New 52, and I love what they're doing. And I'm really excited to see what you're doing with the Batman Beyond title and future stories with Nightwing and all that stuff.
Well, Batman Beyond is connected. Batman Beyond is actually not connected to the New 52 stuff. It's a part of the DC animated continuity.
Right. Do you have any strange fan interaction stories?
I don't think so. I mean, it's always. That's actually. The shows are a lot of fun for me. Being able to go out and interact with the people that are buying your book and supporting you each month. I mean, that's a pretty cool aspect of the job. And sometimes it's fun because as a writer, like, you sit in isolation for long periods of time, and basically your best friend is a blank page, or actually your best friend is a halfway done, 3/4 way done script where you know how to finish it, and you know what it takes to finish it, and then it's just a matter of going through. But yeah, I mean, you know what I mean. So it's really fun to get a chance to interact with people and are reading the material and who it's affecting one way or another. And that's like I said, that's one of my favorite aspects of the comics medium. So any interaction is a good interaction as far as I'm concerned.
Right.
When it relates to comics, especially.
Yeah. Before we let you go, one last question. You mentioned the writing and
Sure.
and that's a kind of isolating process. How long does it take you to write a script for Nightwing?
It varies. It depends on a couple things. Whether it's a brand new arc, whether it's the end of an arc, whether it's somewhere in the middle. It also varies, depending on how fully fleshed out my outline is.
Mm-hmm.
I like to outline things very, very tightly. So if I have an outline that's fully formed to the point where I pretty much know what every scene is, I mean, I can write a script in a day. It's like a long day.
Yeah.
but I could do it.
Yeah.
Usually, on average, it's 2 to 3 days. And I work in different methods as well. I mean, depending on my artist. Brett and I have kind of a pseudo kind of Marvel style method that we work in, where I'm writing more of a plot based story, and I'm including some dialogue, but a lot of this is kind of what it's going to be in terms of dialogue and more panel descriptions than you would usually see in a Marvel style. But basically, it's a bit more freedom for Brett to interpret things, and then I come back and I'll do a finished pass of all the dialogue that better fits the art. Because a lot of times an artist will find things as he's working on the pages that you didn't plan for, you didn't think of, and it can be really cool. I mean, you come back and it makes it seem like it was all planned. So, but if I'm writing plot based, I mean, it's much quicker as well, because I'm able to take my outline and kind of turn it into breakdowns, and it's a little bit quicker. So.
Awesome. Would you like to
basically the answer to your question is it depends on what the deadline is.
Yeah, that's usually always the answer. Before we let you go, would you like to inform the people where they can interact with you online?
Sure. I mean, I'm on Twitter's probably the best spot, and it's Kyle D. Higgins. Mm-hmm. And then I'm on Facebook as well, but I don't really use it that much. So Twitter's probably the best place.
All right. I'd like to thank Mr. Higgins for taking the time to chat with me in this GCRN interview.
What? You should be sidewalk stroganoff.
I changed the menu.
Guess Batman had a change of heart. Who'd have thought he had one? Speak of the devil. You coming?
I guess it's about time.